Hello and welcome to the Perfect Gentleman podcast. My name is Zach Falconer-Barfield. I am the co-founder of the Perfect Gentleman, #1PG, and this is episode technically 72 of the Perfect Gentleman podcast, but maybe it should be restart episode 1. And we're back. Yes, we're back, and it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more changes probably than we would have thought, but that's what's happening now thanks to the last 18 months. So let me delve into the first section of what we're going to talk about today, which is what we call From the Desk of Me, 1PG. And what we're going to talk about first and foremost is what's happened, why we've been away, and what's happening now, and why we're coming back, and some of the changes to do with the podcast and what we're doing as the Perfect Gentleman in totality. So thank you very much for the support that we've had. We've had lots and lots of requests for people saying, please bring the podcast back. Please come back with a podcast. So we're doing that. First and foremost, we're doing the podcast coming back. But there's some changes to the podcast. We'll talk about those in a second. But first, where have you been? What's been happening? What's been going on? So, long story short, we were looking to raise some money for the Perfect Gentleman to sort of enhance what we were doing. And unfortunately, after some waiting and some challenges and then the pandemic, that actually didn't happen. And that kind of put us back, that knocked all of us back, and we had to make some decisions about what we were going to do next. And we took some time and thought about it, and with some of you guys and our fans and supporters and our team, we decided that actually we're going to double down and regroup and relaunch and go from it without investment and just with us. So it took us a little bit of a time because both myself, James, and the new members of the team, Dre, and some of the old members of the team have had, of course, a challenging pandemic. And some of us have been very busy. Some of us have been very stressed. But now we're coming through the other side. We're going to move forward with The Perfect Gentleman. The Perfect Gentleman podcast, which you're listening to, it will be the central pillar to sort of our content platform as we go forward. Well, what's going to happen with the difference? So as you can see, I'm on my own doing the podcast. And as you can hear, I'm on my own doing the podcast at the moment. The reason for that is it's become slightly more challenging for me and James to record together all the time. So what we've decided is that we're going to do a couple of podcasts each on our own. And then basically once every 4 or 5 podcasts, we will do one together because it's just easier for us to sync that recording up. That's the first thing that's going to happen. The second thing that's going to happen is predominantly we are recording it on video. So you are seeing me now on video, but also you're hearing me on the audio. So if you want to watch me, you can go onto YouTube, onto the Perfect Gentleman YouTube channel. Or you can listen to us on your usual podcasting platforms, whether that's Spotify, Apple, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to do both. So you can look at me if you really want to, or you can listen to me if you prefer not to see my face. So it's going to be a video and an audio. It's going to vary very much in length of the podcast because some will be short, some will be long. We're going to change different content things up. Some podcasts will have different elements in. We're going to do interviews during this. So we're going to bring back our Gentleman Talk series, sometimes remotely, sometimes in person. We're going to do more reviews of products and services and things that we like. And it's going to be a sort of much more different side to what we do and much more interactive. So we're going to listen to you and anything that you want to us to cover across the whole Perfect Gentleman spectrum. So that's kind of what we're doing with the podcast. I hope that you're excited by it as we are. We will also have some guest hosts. We've previously had them before, but we're bringing back my great friend Rory. So we are going to do a few different things along the way. What else is happening with The Perfect Gentleman? So we are launching in a few weeks' time the Perfect Gentleman Academy, which is going to be a 12-week online course which involves some live teaching from myself and various guests. And it's going to be every aspect of the perfect gentleman, from the stylish gentleman, romantic gentleman, mannered gentleman, business gentleman, all the core elements of the perfect gentleman across a 12-week period. And that will give you sort of the first basis of the perfect gentleman. We'll help you with style and romance, teach you how to find that perfect date, have that perfect date, dress appropriately for any situation. We're going to teach you manners from all around the world for every situation, and various different things across the Perfect Gentleman Academy. Then later in the year, we're going to launch our sort of Perfect Gentleman trainers programs. And then into 2022, I know it sounds like a long way off, but it's not that far. We are going to launch our live events. Hopefully we can bring live events back. We're going to launch our 2-day weekends of becoming the perfect gentleman, becoming the stylish gentleman, etc., etc. And we are also going to launch our junior gentleman summer camps here in the United Kingdom, and if possible into the USA, and a few other programs as well. We're also rewriting the Becoming the Perfect Gentleman book that will come out in the end of this year, and we're looking to write new Perfect Gentleman books. So lots and lots of things going on for the Perfect Gentleman, and we're really, really excited about it. So we hope that you are, and you keep on with us on this journey. The podcast will be released every week as it was, and I hope you have lots of fun with us along this journey of making the world a more respectful and gentlemanly place. So the Perfect Gentleman podcast has always had different gentleman sections. We're going to define them a little bit more. And the first section of today's podcast is what we call the gentleman's mindset. I think one of the things I wanted to tackle in the Perfect Gentleman a lot more was mental health, become very relevant and prevalent in the last year. But also, I think it's really important that as a gentleman, we learn to talk about our mental well-being and also, express ourselves more. The whole point about the Perfect Gentleman is that marriage of both the male and female energies, the masculine and feminine, the warrior and the poet, and the ability to communicate, the ability to express ourselves, and the ability to deal with those issues that do come up, whether it's stress or depression or difficulty. I can quite safely say that pretty much most people have gone through some level of stress, anxiety, depression, and men are very bad at talking about it. So we're going to tackle that a little bit more. Let's start with the last year, the pandemic. And it has had a huge impact on many people around the world. Some countries have been more isolated than others, been locked down. Some have been less locked down. But I think the pressure of being isolated, only communicating through cameras and on Zoom and on different and phone calls has isolated us as human beings. And we human beings are social creatures. We like engaging with people, and we like the physicality, if not the touching, of other people. We like being in the presence of other people. So it has impacted and affected us as human beings across the world, some more than others. But it's starting to change. And it's starting to get better, and we're starting to ease lockdowns in different countries around the world, and we're starting to travel. And this is becoming more and more exciting and more interesting, but that brings its own problems. Because I've seen and I've heard of a number of people that have basically become antisocial, not wanting to go out, not engaging with people, not wanting to step outside their front door anymore, not having the same level of social interaction and comfortability with people that they had previously. and it has highlighted and exasperated those things. So, you know, I would say baby steps, ladies and gentlemen, baby steps. Take it easy. Start moving slowly back into the real world. Start moving slowly back into the engagement with people. Take it easy. Don't leap. Some people always want you to leap. I always say, take it easy. The tortoise and the hare, right? The tortoise, the turtle, he plodded along and got to the end. The hare ran himself out. Be a little bit more tortoise and a little less hare in these situations. Take it easy, take time, think about what you're doing each time, and step back into the world slowly and easily. If you're struggling, talk to someone. Now, you might not be able to talk to your friends and family. They probably are sick of you by now, joking aside, but also might not be the right person. But there are a number of great organizations around the world for mental health, such as Calm and other mental awareness charities. We'll put a couple of links both in the video and in the show notes for you for different places around the world to have a look at resources to help you with your mental health. And any issues that you have. There are plenty of places to talk to. And men, yes, you men, I'm mostly talking to you, do talk to people. It's not a bad thing. It's not a problem to express your emotions and your feelings. And the whole point about the warrior poet thought process was the poet was an expression of your emotions, your feelings. So, if you struggle perhaps talking to someone, write it down, get your feelings out there. You never know, you might become another great poet. But in seriousness, do talk to people, do help people, and just take the baby steps to come back into the world. And I wish you great journeys on this journey to making the world a more respectful and gentlemanly place. So for our last section of the Perfect Gentleman podcast, we always take a look at sort of what's gentlemanly news, things that have caught our eye, things that are sort of manners, etiquette, style, I don't know, all sorts of stuff for the Perfect Gentleman news section. So in our Perfect Gentleman news section today, I have a couple of things. One that is incredibly relevant. I have been doing a lot of lecturing over the last year for a couple of business schools that I lecture in. And it is the online etiquette for classrooms. Oh my gosh. You've seen some viral things of people doing Zoom calls. So far in my lecturing life, I've had a lot of people eating during classrooms and Zoom calls. I have had people in bed. I've had people in bed in their pajamas. I've had people driving during my classes. I've had people take a shower. Yes, not take me into the shower, but they basically left the camera running, and I've watched them walk into the bathroom and walk out, and it's just crazy. So I think some simple keyboard etiquette, some etiquette for online classrooms should be taken into consideration. Number one, and this is true for Zoom calls as well as classrooms, right? Number one, keep your camera on. Communication is a visual medium. We like seeing people. We get much more interaction when we see people. So turn your camera on. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's behind you, what's your left, what's your right, what's could come into your thing. Dress appropriately. Please don't be wearing your pajamas on a class or in a Zoom call. Think about what else is going on. Keep your keyboard noise to if you're chatting away. Mute your microphone. When you're not talking, and also when you're away on the computer if you're taking notes. If you want to engage, use some of the raise hand functions. Speak out, speak up, engage with people, and stay present in the call. Don't get distracted. I had one student who was literally playing a game whilst in my class, and I could see him doing something. He had the headset on and he was looking at another screen, and he was basically playing a game when whilst in the class. So think about your things that are going on. But it's an interesting article. It was from India Today, and is about online classroom etiquette, and I think it's really important. The second news article that I have come across that I think is amazing is from the Daily Mail, Mail Online. Chimpanzees have secret handshakes. Apes clasp hands while grooming one another, and each group has a distinct grip. I love the Daily Mail titles, but what's really interesting is, our nearest evolutionary ancestors have handshakes, they touch, they engage in physical contact, and they have etiquette around specific things like grooming and so on and so forth. Apes are very much a cultural species, and we like that, but, it's very interesting to see that that's the way apes operate, as well as us humans. I'm not sure if I want to hold someone's hand whilst I'm having a haircut, but, we'll see what happens. And the last article which caught my eye, which I thought was very amusing, and nothing against the gentleman in question, but it's just the way it's portrayed. I was at the Daily Mirror here in the United Kingdom, mirror.co.uk, about Brooklyn Beckham, so David Beckham's son, being a gentleman by carrying his girlfriend's bag and holding her hand. Now, I don't know about you, but two things. One, I don't think you just get called out for being a gentleman just for holding your girlfriend's hand. I think that would be the norm. And carrying her handbag, well, you know what? You could quite easily do that. I know I do frequently carry my partners and my previous partners' handbags if necessary. So I'm not sure if that's perfect gentlemanly behavior, or maybe the bar has dropped so low that constitutes perfectly gentlemanly behavior. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, if you're listening to us on the YouTube and the video podcast, please like and subscribe and hit the notification button. If you are listening on a podcast platform, an audio podcast platform, please subscribe to the Perfect Gentleman podcast. We will be doing many, many more different things along the way. As we talk, please comment either on the video podcast or on the audio podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you're happy to have us back. Let us also know what other things that you want to hear us say, or want to hear us do, and anything at all, good, bad, or indifferent. We will always take it on board. I have been Zach Faulkner-Barfield. This is the Perfect Gentleman podcast, and I wish you a great day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world, and let us all make the world a little bit more respectful and a little bit more gentlemanly. Thank you.